Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really happy to see you guys again today. I want to start by talking a little bit, reviewing a little bit what we talked about yesterday. What is an engineer again? Remind me where we were at. Quinn?
Someone who makes things to fix a problem.
So fixes problems. So problems are kind of central to what an engineer does, you know? What did Yi Min's grandfather do again? AJ?
He built the motor with the mortar.
For what? The mortar for what?
To stick the bricks together for the bridge.
So a bridge. Why does building a bridge solve a problem?
Yes.
What problem does building a bridge solve, Anna?
It solves the problem of you not driving and then falling into the water or whatever is dangerous that keep up the bridge over.
The issue is getting to the other side of the water, is what you're saying, right? From one side to the other. Yeah. What was Yi Min's grandfather's job with regards to the bridge? To make the mortar. And why did he have to make a new mortar, Emilio?
Because the old mortar crumpled.
The old mortar was crumbling, so he had to fix something, right? So depending on the situation, an engineer could do different things, but they always are trying to solve problems, right? You guys with me? Okay, so now the next question. Are all engineers the same?
No.
Why are they not the same? Does anybody know any kinds of engineers? Quinn?
Electrical engineer?
An electrical engineer. Do you know an electrical engineer?
My dad, I think, knows one.
Okay, so what do you think an electrical engineer would do?
Like if there's a power outage or something and they help like get the lights back on.
Okay. Yes, Amelia.
A mechanical engineer.
A mechanical engineer. What kind of problems do you think a mechanical engineer solves?
Mechanic problems.
Mechanic problems? Uh-huh.
And I know one because one's my dad.
Oh, cool. That's cool. We'll have to have your dad come in and talk to us. What do you think, like, Yi Min's grandfather, what kind of engineer is he? Please.
So like, mortar engineer?
The mortar engineer. Kind of. But what he was, or is called a materials engineer. So today we're going to learn a little bit more about what that means, about what it means to be a materials engineer. All engineers use that engineering design process to solve problems. Okay? So today we're going to learn about what a materials engineer does. Does anybody want to guess what a materials engineer does? Skylar.
Build walls and make mortars.
Make mortars, build walls. What do you think they need to know? AJ, what do you want to say?
They'll have to know science, like
Science of
materials.
Materials. Elements is one kind, but there's lots of different kinds. An engineer, a materials engineer has to choose the best material for each job. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how we know what the best material might be. So every material has properties, and they're characteristics. So here's my question. What are the properties of the cloth or cotton that this is made of? How would you describe this material? Poppy?
Flexible.
Flexible. That's a key property of cloth. What if we made this shirt of a different material? What if we made a shirt out of glass? Anna?
You would have to be very careful with it.
What about if you made a shirt of paper? Do you think there's any similar properties between paper and the cloth, Amelia?
Bendable.
They're both flexible, right? Paper could be flexible. But can we agree that paper wouldn't be as good a material to choose for a shirt? Right? So in your folders, I want you to open up to the page where it talks about keeping warm. Materials engineering, keeping warm. You got it. You're right there. So I have some different materials for you guys to check out today. I want you to think how you could use each of those 4 different materials for the job, the problem that's being posed to you, which is keeping warm. I got it. I'm coming. I'm hooking you up. Did you guys check out the straw on that table? You didn't check out the straw?
Whoa.
Like, are you trying to survive?
Prickly.
Honestly, if you had a winter coat made of this only, and you walked outside on a cold day, would it keep you warm?
Sort of.
Somebody tell me a property of this brick. Heavy. There's a good one. Skylar. Hard. Anna. Rough. A little rough. Okay. Anything else? All right. The last one on this page before I send you on to the next problem to solve is paper. You all have paper in front of you. Could paper, first of all, what's some properties of paper? Amelia.
Flexible.
Flexible. Mercedes. Thin. AJ. What? Weak. Okay. Poppy?
It's loud.
But on its own, it's not loud. Your interaction with it might be kind of loud. Charlotte? Flammable. Huh, that's an interesting addition. That is definitely a property of paper. That's good. So you can see that every material could be used in some way for something. It might have properties that would make it good for some aspects of a problem and poor for other aspects of a problem. Right? Because if you were trying to make a coat out of paper, it would be tough to make it really warm, I think. On the next page, you have a new problem, carrying eggs. So I want you to think about these same 4 materials and whether they could be used to complete that job, to help with that problem, and how you would do it, and whether they would be good or poor choices for that particular task.
See, that's what I meant. Like, you could do paper too, but it might break. So. But cloth would be good because it's more flexible and you can like roll it.
If I'm walking and I'm carrying a straw in my hands, if I don't even have a basket, I just have straw in my hands and an egg on top, and I bump into a wall, would this make a good material for carrying eggs? No,
Well,
why not? What property?
Because it's hard, and like if you made like a basket out of it. Well,
But even if you didn't make a basket, what if you carried the egg on top of this and you were really careful? You turn the page, one page, and there's 2 new problems. Turn your page. So tables 1, 2, and 3 are going to think about these materials with sitting, and tables 4, 5, and 6 are going to think about these materials and cleaning the floor.
You can sit on this material, but would it be comfortable? If you like fold it, probably a chair. Could you make it entire? No, because it's soft and fuzzy, and that would be a cushion for you. You could sew a cushion out of it. And straw, because a straw would be good because it's a little itchy, but it's
Now you're trying just to look at me.
soft.
it's really soft bread. Then it would probably feel very uncomfortable.
All right, sit on the straw.
Okay, so I guess the brick was there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, turn the page, one more page, and we're going to kind of go through this together. Okay, so what I want you guys to notice is that depending on the problem, different materials are a better choice or a worse choice. Each material that we've talked about here has good properties and bad properties depending upon the task that they're being used for. A lot of you guys, we were talking about the brick and carrying eggs, and we talked about if we bumped a corner and the egg hit the brick, it would break. So the fact that a brick is really hard is not a good property if you're trying to carry eggs. But if you're building a wall, it might be a really important property that is hard, right? So tomorrow we're going to come in and we are going to test some different materials and learn about these materials so that when we go to build our wall, we have some knowledge, because an engineer doesn't make decisions about materials without some knowledge about those materials. That day was definitely the hardest day for me. Like, it was very rewarding. It was very rewarding to see that they went from really not getting it, really having to separate this idea of properties from materials from, purpose, and then finally being able to really get it. That was really probably the most rewarding growth I saw from the kids. I mean, I think that, you know, they enjoyed the process for sure of the whole unit, but that singular thing was where I saw the biggest growth from the kids.